So, welcome to another episode of the Via VHS podcast, your virtual video store. Each week, we go back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and we pick out a movie from our childhood and see if it still holds up and see if we still love it. If now we hate it, or maybe we used to hate it, now we love it, or maybe it's always sucked. And speaking of movies that maybe they've always sucked, or maybe not, this week we're looking at Masters of the Universe from 1987, not the new one.
Yeah.
Masters Universe from 1987, because we got to ride the SEO wave. We got to jump on board. And have you seen the new one yet?
No, I haven't yet. It's
Haven't
one of
either.
those ones, once again, like I gotta drive like 2 hours to a movie
Mhm.
theater, so it kinda makes me really pick and choose. And plus, now that I don't have like a pass, like before I had like the Regal pass where,
Yeah.
you're only paying $20 or whatever a month to go see unlimited movies. Now it's like you go to the movie theater, it's like, well, you gotta drop $20 a ticket each time, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm making it kind of the special occasion ones,
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer because was like my favorite hobby, I guess you would say, is going to the cinema, but
Yeah. It's one of those things for me. I don't get to do it as much anymore either. And now I have to pick and choose. And even though I say I'm going to go every time, like I kept saying I was going to see Project Hail Mary in
oh, yeah.
theaters, never got around to doing it. I eventually bought it at home and watched it, and it was amazing, by the
Was
way.
it really good? Because I
Oh,
see, that's the thing
God.
is because I'm not going to the cinemas, I'm, like, super out of the loop because I've not seen any trailers or anything like
Yeah.
that, so I have
I
no
I
idea really what's
sympathize.
coming out,
Yeah.
as I said, the next big one I'm kinda waiting for that I'll definitely go out of my way for is Street Fighter.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see, so I've been saving up for a couple of them, saving my time up because I know I'm gonna go see Disclosure Day, which everybody
Mhm.
says is gonna be amazing. All the buzz on that one is Spielberg's best film since, like, Schindler's List or something, so, uh, which is saying something.
I wish it is just, like, kinda weird, like, Steven's best film since always, and people are like, "What the hell's
Yeah.
always?" Be like, "You should go check it out, it's actually pretty good."
Steven's best film since Munich. At least I like Munich, but it's
I
not,
did too, yeah.
I love Steven Spielberg. It's my
I'm glad at
favorite.
least they didn't say Steven's best film since, War of the Worlds. Be like, whoa, 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 pump the brakes there. That might be
Yeah.
Steven's, weakest film almost.
A lot of people love that one. That's my least favorite Steven Spielberg film, but
Yeah. It's one of those, it's weird. If you take those kids out, I know I've mentioned this like 1,000 times, like a broken record, but it would, it is a legitimate movie. It's those kids just find a way to tear everything down in there.
Yeah.
The
Fucking
two worst kids I've ever seen in cinema.
Yeah. Oh, that's saying something too. Um, but yeah, I will go see Disclosure Day, and I'll probably go see the Odyssey because why
Yeah,
wouldn't I?
I'll go see that one. That
Yeah.
one.
I think there's either a 70 millimeter or 35 millimeter not far from me.
Ooh, there you go.
So I gotta see how far. I might be
Yeah.
completely wrong on that, but I feel like there was one in Raleigh. I feel like I saw there was one in Raleigh. So if there's one in Raleigh, I might go check that out. But anyway, Masters Universe. We haven't seen the new one, and we'll get around to it. I'll watch it at home.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
hate to sort of say it, but that's what it's gonna kinda be. It's their home
yeah,
watches now.
yeah. Even Project Hail Mary, I wish I would have saw that on the big screen because it was amazing. But I saw it at home. Well, that's one I knew I would love. That's one I
Mm,
was like, it's worth the money because Andy Weir. I read The Martian. That movie was amazing.
that's where that all ties together, okay.
Yeah, same author. This was better.
Oh, there
This
you
was
go.
better. Yeah, that's saying something because I love The Martian, and the book was
Yeah.
great too. Book was even better. Um, but yeah, sorry, we're getting on track. Masters of the Universe, 1987. This is a movie that um kind of missed the wave a little bit. Just a little too late.
Mhm.
Um, really wasn't successful at all. A lot of things to hate about it, but I think what we're going to talk about tonight is discuss where it's actually a good movie. Maybe it's not a good He-Man movie, but is it a good movie in general? Because I think there's a lot of things to be said about that. But yeah, did you grow up with this one at all? Was this one a big one for you growing up?
Strangely enough, this is my main way that I knew about He-Man was from this movie.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
the weird thing is that, Master of the Universe and He-Man and all that stuff, like, once it was done being on TV, I don't remember it ever being, like, circulated, like, unless you were
Right.
happening to go across the store and find them on VHS or something like that, that was it, and that's the same thing that happened with G.I. Joe, even Transformers, because the only way I saw Transformers was literally by renting the tapes. That's the
Yeah.
only way I knew about Transformers. They never re-show any of those episodes until I almost want to say like the 2000s, or at least on my kind of TV networks. I never saw these ones like, in syndication. And He-Man, She-Ra, all that stuff, same thing. Though ironically, Thundercats, I remember I watched a bunch, which I know kind of played simultaneously, but I think that's because that's a Hanna-Barbera one, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. And
Yeah.
all the Hanna-Barbera stuff on Cartoon Network was all pretty much preserved really well. So that's where I caught up on so many, 60s on up shows was there. But He-Man kind of slipped by me. It's like I always kind of knew of it,
Yeah.
but I was never able to really catch the show. And then as a kid, I did see the Dolph Lundgren one just because I like Dolph Lundgren. So that led me into He-Man or Masters of the Universe. But yeah, that's kind of my core way of knowing about it in a weird roundabout style. Yep.
I watched it a tiny bit on television, the animated show. This movie I didn't even know existed at all. I don't remember seeing this in a video store growing up. Don't remember seeing it on television growing up. You feel like this is a movie that was like could have been like Beastmaster and been playing all the time.
Yeah.
This could have been the usurped Beastmaster, but I don't remember seeing it.
Well, there's one thing you're gonna need this, usurped Beastmaster that's kind of missing in Masters.
Yeah.
You don't got no
Well,
Tanya Roberts running around there. I mean, you have Courtney Cox, but if she was doing the Tanya Roberts thing, that might change how well this movie's remembered.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. They were close. They had the opportunity was there.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way. But yeah, this was not a big part of my life. Don't My biggest relationship with He-Man growing up was one time my grandmother, good old mama, she loved in them thrift stores, man. She lived in the thrift stores. That was like her favorite pastime. Had one called Yoke Fella. I don't even know what that is.
No,
But
it almost sounds like Yoked Fella, but it's not that.
it's not Yoke Fella. No, it's Yoke Fella. And she'd go in there. She's the only white lady to go in there. Like it would be me and her. And one time she went without me and she found like a batch of like He-Man action figures. Some kid foolishly gave them up, let mama
Yep.
have them. And they were in there for like 25 cents a piece. So I had all those. I had them all. I had the one I remember the most is and if you're a He-Man Masters Universe fan, you're going to be like so mad at me right now. There's like a guy who looks like a bee.
Okay, yeah.
That's
I do kind of remember that, but
yeah. That's the one I remember the most, and of course He-Man, and then I think I had a Man at Arms, but I think coincidentally he was missing arms, like an arm,
Man with no
and
arms.
yeah, a man with no arms. That's what I had. And then I don't think I had the cat. What was the cat's name? I mean, it's not in the movie, so the green cat thing.
Yeah. See, this is where I kind of feel like I failed. Is like, once again, by the time like I
Yeah,
finally got around to catching up to He-Man the cartoon show, it was way too late.
yeah.
It was like that ship sailed a long time ago, and I definitely was not on board.
What's funny is that we're 2 weeks in trying to record this episode, and I told myself I'm just gonna watch a bunch of He-Man stuff between now and then. I'm like I won't have time. Coincidentally, I did, but also didn't because I was too busy. But if I did
Well,
have
they do
time,
have them on Amazon. I want to say you can watch
yeah,
quite a bit. You can watch the original show because I have watched a few episodes off of there.
yeah,
You
I think
know,
YouTube is on there.
yeah. And then of course there is that Kevin Smith one that I know that people like berated about, but I never checked out. But I do like Kevin Smith, so
Huh.
I always felt like I should give that kind of the old college try. Maybe it'll be better than you think.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
get
what that
eventually.
one glaring weakness is that is in that show that set everybody off,
I
but
feel like there was something that was woke in there. I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe Tila had a dick or something. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, as long as you're
Battle
swinging
Cat.
around and
Yeah, I think it's Battle Cat's the green cat's name.
yeah, I think that is right. I think you are
Yeah,
100% there.
Battle Cat. But yeah, we need to, it's the thing is I want to love this because I love the 80s.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm a poser when I don't know a lot about Masters of the Universe because I think when I got of the age to get into Masters of the Universe, it was still on television, but it had been bumped out of the way, out of the limelight by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as had Transformers to an extent, as had, Thundercats to an extent, you know, TMNT just took over.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's
And
probably my same thing too. Is that's the reason why it's like, because Turtles I could watch all the time. I mean, I watched it while it
Mhm.
was brand new episodes and both in syndication at the same
Yeah,
time. And that literally did just wipe everything else out. And by the time the 90s rolled in, it's just like lot of those 80s shows kind of like they were hard to find. They just one of those ones like the quality, I think by the time Batman and X-Men and all that kind of stuff came out, it's just they weren't replaying a lot of the 80s stuff.
Mm-hmm. All the all the animated shows of the 80s, the 90s that were not like comedic ones like Animaniacs or whatever. They're either trying to copy the Turtles or copy Batman.
Yeah.
It felt like.
Everybody's doing that, yeah.
Yeah, and there was so many Turtles knockoffs. None of them really did well. Street Shark's probably the most successful.
Yeah, I do like me some Street Sharks, but
Yeah. I did watch a little bit of Thundercats like you did because I think Cartoon Network, it must have been Hanna-Barbera because Cartoon Network played that a little bit.
yeah, because I did watch the living daylights out of Thundercats. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, and there was a bunch of 80s ones on, that Cartoon Network would play, but it's weird how Cartoon Network wouldn't have, like whoever had the rights to Masters and G.I. Joe and Transformers and all that stuff.
Yeah, Filmation.
Yeah, they just sort of like, maybe that was kind of it. They got kind of locked up because of that, And I know the big thing about Masters is that is the one that starts like everything 80s comes from Masters. Like that's the first one where there was like, hey, here's this toy line. Let's make an animated show to go along with it. And all the things tied around there, it's all tied to Masters. Like that thing sets the formula for so many other things.
Well, it did and it didn't because really what they were seeing is Star Wars comes out and it comes out with all these, action figures and revolutionizes like licensing. And then what was different with Star Wars, it started as a movie and became a toy franchise
Yeah.
by the third movie. And then these were starting with the toys and getting it. The other stuff was ancillary,
Yeah.
That basically the shows were used as commercials for the toys. Transformers the most. This one felt like from the little bit I have seen of it, felt like there was a little bit more continuity and a little bit more commitment to an actual story. Like the toys are still the priority, but it felt like there was a little bit more of a commitment to an actual narrative compared to some of the other ones where it's just like, fuck, there's a narrative going on. Fuck it, we're gonna kill these guys to sell more. Like, But I don't know. Yeah, this is definitely the 80s and 90s. Even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles may not have existed in the way it did without Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Like they set the standard like, hey, you don't have to have a movie. You can just start off with the toys and then let everything else go from there. So it's a big deal.
Yeah. No, and I think that is it. It was toy first. Because G.I. Joe, the show wasn't there yet. Because I don't think they had. There's not like an older G.I. Joe show.
No, there is a
I was trying to think if there was like a '60s show, but now, I don't think there's anything G.I. Joe in the '60s for animated. Which is strange. You think they would have put something together like during that Johnny Quest time period and so on like that. Like,
yeah. I don't know if it was in the 60s or not, but I think it was just, Barbie and G.I. Joe, because I don't think Barbie had a show.
No, she didn't either. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. But anyway, we have a lot to say about Masters of the Universe from 1987. So let's go ahead and go through our tail of the tape. I forgot where we were for a second.
As it with what we're really talking about.
Yeah. Well, no, what we were really talking about. Just what part of the show we're getting ready to go into. Like, oh man, because we want to get to the Rewind review, but we got some some business to take care of. Tell the tape. Basically, we go back to the week the movie was released, and we look at some pop culture around the movie, or mainly we look at the box office and see what this movie was up against, see what was happening that week. In this case, it is the week of August 7th, 1987. Tail end of the summer, kids going back to school. This movie just misses the boat everywhere. This movie, the thing is with this one, it wasn't a success. It had a budget of 22 million, made about 17 million, and they just released it too late. I mean, if they would release this movie in 1984,
or even 5, because what does He-Man go? Does it go 83 to 86 or 85?
I was thinking it was even earlier than that, maybe like 82, but I don't know.
Oh,
but
it looks like 82 to, it says 88, but I know that's not how long the show went to.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there was like some like straggling episodes going on later for like the hardcore fans and stuff, like the jump the
Eh,
shark already kind of shit.
Yeah, if I'm kind of guessing, I'm thinking that probably just means there's probably some more toys and stuff, kind of, and probably released around the movie is what that probably would have
Yeah,
meant.
yeah. The craze had definitely died down. Um,
Yeah,
because you're right
83
on.
to 85, that's what it was. So it wasn't very
Okay,
long.
yeah.
She-Ra was 85 to 87. So I
Oh,
guess
okay.
by that standard, She-Ra, but she's not in Masters. So if they probably would have tied more She-Ra stuff into the Dolph Lundgren one,
Hmm.
I think that would have made it feel a little bit more relevant.
Maybe, maybe it's just they definitely missed the boat. It would have been like the first Ninja Turtles movie coming out in like '93. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
or like 97 even, like, so kinda
Yeah,
like because that's that weird period where the first series of Turtles has stopped, the movies are kinda done, there's not really anything coming out till, I guess, 2003 when the next show comes out, so there is kinda
yeah,
like a downer section of Turtles.
yeah. I mean, I think He-Man still had some relevance when this show came out, when this movie came out, but it was definitely the tail end.
Yeah.
It was definitely the later seasons of like Ninja Turtles, the later seasons of, Batman. It was just, it was still around, but the mega hype had died down. And also, it's hard to say how popular Masters of the Universe really was because obviously it sold a lot of toys and it did well, but it created more competition for itself because of how much money it made. And so you start to think, well, was it super successful or was it just the only thing, for a while
Yeah.
there? And obviously it was somewhat, it definitely means a lot to people because they just made a movie, it released like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and there's
So,
been stuff throughout time. It is like
mhm,
it's that thing, it's like, I think for if you're kind of like an early '80s kid, it's a really big deal one, you know? I
mhm.
think it is kinda like one of those shows that fits in there, as one of the big heavy hitters of that time period, The same way that stuff just a little bit later, like Transformers and Ninja Turtles would be kinda for, like, us.
Yeah. Maybe, I think the reason this movie didn't do well, there's several reasons. We'll get to the big ones into the rewind review because a lot of it's narrative stuff. But one, it missed the boat. It was a little bit behind its time. Maybe he just wasn't gay enough because the show's gay as hell.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, I mean, this will probably come in the reround review, but, like, the thing it kind of even when the first time I saw it as a kid, it does that thing that always kinda bothers me in movies, which maybe I'll just say this for the rewind review because this is just gonna go for a distance here.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to that. I know where
Yeah.
that's gonna go,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. Yeah. I was just making a little offhand thing, but maybe that's more. Maybe
yeah,
it's true.
I feel like if I say any more, I'll be talking about something for 5 minutes. I got
Yeah.
a whole
Got it.
spiel on that. But,
Got it. Put a pin
but
in
yeah,
not gay enough.
yeah, not gay enough and not magical enough, you know what I mean? Not
Not
enough
magical enough.
rainbows, 80s
Yeah.
rainbows, that is.
Yeah. 80s rainbows.
And then to top
Um,
it off, even when you come to the box office, I gotta say, is even though there's one heavy hitter that only came out a week beforehand, but at the
mhm,
same time, you got the Living Daylights, but this is kind of the Timothy Dalton era, so this is kind of probably I love the Timothy Dalton movies, but by this
mhm.
point, I think Gen X people just didn't care for 007. I've kinda learned that throughout the years is that a lot of Gen X people, Bond to them was like, "Oh, that's what my dad was into." So, it didn't hit that teenage audience or any of those, like, younger, bucks at this time period the same way.
Yeah, I feel like the Living Daylight, these Bond movies, the Timothy Dalton ones, they weren't meant for the '80s because
Yeah,
Roger
they're
Moore is
they're
campy and corny as fuck.
yeah, I know on the Timothy Dalton ones, I think are some of the best Bond movies
I
out there.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I think the '80s just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, and I just think it was Bond at this point, like, it kinda, like it went on for such a long time that people were there's just a certain generation that was just not their thing. Because I just know,
Yeah,
like, when you talk to people of that Gen X kinda era, like, not as many of them are into Bond, like, the same way that people
yeah.
of our generation are or older.
Mhm. Yeah, Living Daylight's number 1 at the box office. Um, we can talk about that forever.
Yeah.
Stakeout, number 2. Isn't that Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah, that's a Richard Dreyfuss one. I've always wanted to see it. It has an interesting
Yeah.
looking, like, cover.
Yeah. Is it Emilio Estevez too? Is that the other
I
guy?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I know the cover. and I've been wanting to see it. But Richard Dreyfuss is fucking batshit crazy, and I love it. Number 3 at the box office, Masters of the Universe. So it had, not
Okay.
terrible.
Yeah, it's coming on decent at 7 million right off the bat. This is still, once again, this is the 80s where these kind of movies, it's just like Transformers that we did only a couple of weeks or a month ago, whatever.
Mhm.
The downfall is this is the era where like the only people that are into this are going to be like, people that are maybe 12 and under,
Yeah.
maybe 14 and under, because by the time this comes out. So it's like, one, they got to get a ride there. You got to con your parents into taking you there, or somebody. It's not like nowadays where it's really common for people to be like, oh, there's this cool like comic book or whatever thing. Like it's a whole family affair now. Everybody's into this. This is the time period where just dad's sitting there cracking a beer open, and be like, yep, you're gonna have to prove it to me why we need to go there instead of going to see the a western or something.
Yeah. That gay guy with a sword.
Yeah, that you've been watching for like the last 5 years. Did you have enough of him?
Yeah.
And then he turned to a woman finally. She-Ra. Yeah, that's not the same character. It looked the same to me. You watching them sex changing shows?
God damn. Next thing you know, WWF's gonna have all kinds of gay shit going on. Oh my gosh. And so La Bamba. La Bamba. Richie Valens. Number 4. The Lost Boys. Even gayer.
Yeah. The best like saxophone player in any movie.
That guy could have played He-Man.
He could have,
Yeah.
He had the muscles almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and he was, I think, gay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just making that up. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I mean,
well, you can go out and do the you could do the double feature of Masters with Care Bear's Adventure in Wonderland. Which I do remember seeing that movie.
Gosh. I think I saw that too on television, actually.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Lost Boys, number 5, RoboCop, number 6.
Yeah. RoboCop's been there for about a month, I think.
Yeah. And then Summer School, number 7.
Oh, I remember that. That's one of the ones I've always seen that VHS cover. I've never watched it. The guy and the dog with sunglasses on,
Yeah. Yeah. I only know that guy in that age.
That's it. That's all you need to know. I want to know that dog in that age.
Yeah. Yeah. So Masters of the Universe, directed by Gary Goddard. Canon film, you got Golan and Globus. This is, I think, what sunk them. I think they just.
Or I was just gonna say, this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I mean, the end. I think it was always the end. Like it was like they had a lot of ambition, and they had their. When you look at Roger Corman knew what he was doing was cheap, and he was like, "I'm gonna milk every red cent out of this production." Canon, Golan and Globus over here, they were just delusional. They're like, yeah, Superman 4, we could do that. You can't. Like, oh, Masters of the Universe? Oh, yeah, we can swing that. You can't. Like, so they would bite off, things that were just too big for them. And they were swinging for the fences, because if one's a home run and one's a hit, then they can get up to standing with everybody else. And, but they just never get that big hit that really, 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 allowed them to, do great things. But it was Canon was fun.
Yeah, no, Canon had some great stuff. And I gotta say this really quickly too. Gary Godard or whatever, the director of this movie. Well, beyond just doing, some movies, he does have a couple big things under his belt that are kind of like things you wouldn't expect the same way. But he's the guy who put together Jurassic Park, the original version of the ride at Universal Studios, and the T2 3D, ride/play, whatever you want to kind of call that. Which that thing, both of those are amazing. Of course, Jurassic Park in its original incarnation, but yeah, just that in itself is like, that's actually kind of cool that guy was involved with a bunch of ride stuff later on.
That is a cool thing. That is a cool thing to be involved with because it's like you get your hands on these really big franchises, and you
Yeah.
know what I mean. You get to play around with Terminator and Jurassic Park and all this other stuff. I think I saw another big one in there, but yeah. So Gary Goddard's the director. He doesn't have much else in his filmography. Um, shit, this might be it in terms of feature film.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that
but
is because the other big ride he did the Spider-Man one in Florida.
yeah, I did see a Spider-Man thing, which ironically, Canon wanted to do Spider-Man instead of this.
Yeah.
So I wonder if
And
there's
strangely enough, they built a set that was going to be used for Spider-Man / Masters of the Universe 2 that literally got used for Cyborg, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. That was the fill-in movie for that.
golly, unbelievable.
Which I've never seen that one, to say the truth. I own it, but I have not seen that.
You know, I was on a show recently, but these are cool. Was a guy that I know who lives in Raleigh. I was on his YouTube channel, and he brought up those movies. And no, it wasn't those. Sorry, it was Universal Soldier. He brought up.
Oh, well, that's a great movie.
Yeah, but I was wrong. It wasn't Cyborg. It was Universal Soldier. Because have you seen those? I said no. I saw the one with Goldberg in it because it had Goldberg in it.
I think the third one.
Yeah, whatever it
That one's
was.
got a good cast in it because it's got Goldberg. It's got, I think, both Dolph and John Claude, and I want to say it has Michael J. White in it too.
Yeah, yeah. I just remember Goldberg because that was like at the height of my Goldberg excitement. Are you hearing the ESPN updates?
No.
Okay, good. Because apparently I'm sitting here as we're recording this will be a little interesting. The Knicks just had the biggest comeback in the history of NBA Finals just now.
Oh yeah,
And
I think my mom's watching that game. She was really excited about it. She was telling me.
yeah, my brother's a big Spurs fan, like a huge Spurs fan. So he is pissed right now, but he's getting married tomorrow. So no, well, but it'll be now tomorrow. But anyway, cast Dolph Lundgren plays He-Man. Skeletor, Frank Langella, which
chewing the scenery.
bro, oh, I can't wait to talk about him in the rewind review. Evelyn, Meg Foster with the crazy ass eyes. Billy Barty, what Gwildor?
Yeah, Gwildor. The dude who's also he's like in UHF. That's what I always think of him as.
I always think of him from Willow.
Oh yeah, he's in that. Well, I guess
Yeah.
let's be honest, he's in every movie that a little guy could be in the 80s.
He's like he and Deep Roy going at
Yeah.
it for like the like I don't want to say midget. What do they call him now? Little person supremacy.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
No, I just thought of like for the born supremacy, but like little people. Oh my God, that's Jason Bourne. Anyway, so Courtney Cox plays Julie or whatever. Why she's here, I don't fucking know. You don't care about any of this. James Tolkien though plays Lubick, and rest in peace. The principal for Back to the Future died like maybe 2-3 months ago.
That's right.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so rest in peace.
He finally started to look older.
Yeah, Christina Pickles.
Yeah.
I just want to say her name. She plays the sorceress. She was ironically, wait a minute. Hold on, let me think about this for a second. She plays Courtney Cox's mom in Friends.
Does she?
I think so. I'm almost I know she plays in Friends. I think it's Courtney. I think she plays. Yeah, she does. I'd be willing to bet some money. I'm pretty sure that's Courtney Cox's mom, and it is. That's her. Christina Pickles is Courtney Cox's mom in Friends. I just realized that.
Interesting.
It's fucking wild. Yeah. So they're both in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Two of the Gellers. Do you ever watch Friends?
You know, that's like one of those shows that probably in my entire life I've seen like maybe 5 episodes. If
Yeah,
that
it's only funny if you watch the whole thing.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. I remember every single time I watched the episode, it was never like there was nothing wrong with it. It just nothing stuck that grabbed me into it. That was like I felt like when I watched that one episode, and probably was just waiting for something else. It was like, I never had the urge to go back. It wasn't like a Drew Carey, or
Yeah.
it wasn't like a Seinfeld, or it wasn't like any of the other ones of the time period.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good as Drew Carey, definitely not as good as Frasier, but it was one of
Yeah.
those things when my wife watched it and then I got to know the characters and like, okay, this is pretty funny. And so,
Yeah. No, and that's how I always remember. I remember every time I've watched an episode, I never disliked it. It just
yeah.
it never really was my thing. I remember when they finally had the series finale and everyone's like, "You're gonna watch it?" I'm like, "No." I
Why
watched
start
like any of
now?
the other ones. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. The critics hated this movie, by the way, 23%.
yeah,
And
I could
fans,
imagine them liking it.
yeah. It's not that bad, but it's not good either. But listen, we're all on the ADHD train. It's probably this what am I drinking here? This ghost thing. That's probably
Yeah.
not helping. It's probably got like Red 5, like it's got all the fucking things in it.
It's got all the
So
Rob Dog Kennedy stuff that he's gonna take out of it pretty darn soon.
yeah, you can't drink that because it's going. Oh, anyway, Tylenol makes you autistic. Anyway, I like him. I do like him a lot, but don't take away. Let my Fruit Loops stay fruity, okay? Just give me the fucking dies, man. Yeah, I don't want.
You don't want those Canadian loops?
No, who does? No one
Not
does.
even
Even
Canada wants
Canadian.
them.
No, fuck that. No, they don't. They want those bright colored, just hate America all you want, but you fucking love it. It's like all these people coming over to the World Cup right now. Have you been watching these people like from Europe? They're coming over to America for the World Cup and documenting everything. And they were in the South. They were at Auburn Football Stadium. They went to watch the game there. It was like Argentina versus like Iceland. It's just a friendly because the World Cup starts tomorrow. And they were at a SEC school and they did the whole like college football thing. Like they had the fucking war eagle come down and they had the flyover and all these Europeans were like freaking out, like, oh my God, what is this shit? They go to like a Burger King and to like a freestyle machine. They're like, there's too many options. Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's because when you're in Europe, you don't get choices.
that's right. It's fucking America. We have fruity Fruit Loops, bitch.
Yeah,
Um,
we can make stupid decisions. That's what it's all
America
about.
250. Yeah.
Yeah, 250.
We're 250. We'll be back for a rewind review in just a second. This is an appropriate drink for this rewind review because look how rainbowy it is.
It's perfect for that, you know.
It is Pride Month.
Yeah,
A whole month.
that's what. Yeah,
A whole
that,
month.
that's why Masters came out this month.
Yeah, it probably was. Listen, I'm pro. Do what you want. Live your truth. That's what I say. Do what I have no problem with it. But even a whole month.
Well, I don't think any of these things need a whole month.
No, President's Day, a day. Martin
Yeah,
Luther
a day.
King, a day.
Veterans Day, a day.
A day.
That
Month. Month long.
The month thing is, and that goes for everything. I don't think nobody needs a month.
Black History Month.
Nobody needs a month. Nobody needs a month.
No.
I hate to sort of say it.
There's only 12.
Yeah, there's only 12 of them. So.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's not an issue with the thing. It's just the month. It's just excessive.
The month. Yeah, it's just you're being greedy. That's all I gotta say.
You are.
You're being super greedy.
I'm not anti. It's just a whole month.
Yeah,
it's just a lot. And then also you just like rainbows. Rainbows are yours. Like, oh, it has all the colors. They're being excessive.
Yeah. You can't steal the rainbow either. Let's be honest. The rainbow used to be for all of us.
Yeah. It's just a lot. You're just asking a lot, I think. Anyway, speaking of gay, Masters Universe. This movie's not as gay as a show. This thing. Here's the thing about this movie. Is it a bad movie? Because when you look at it from the perspective of a He-Man movie, Like let's say you're a He-Man fan, you love the show. Let's say you started watching when you're 6 or 7, the show comes out, and you're like 11, 12, 13, whatever. Um, do you are you impressed with this? Are you happy with what you got? No. It's not a very good He-Man movie. He-Man's not even really in it enough. You don't have enough Eternia, you don't have Orko, you don't have the fucking cat. You don't have Matila looks completely different. You're barely in Eternia.
Mhm.
Skeletor's got a fucking rubber face, and all these things make it a bad He-Man movie. But if He-Man never existed as a show, and it was a movie about a girl who was struggling with losing her parents, and all of a sudden she gets swept up in this like alternate universe cosmic battle, and then it might be kind of interesting because the way it plays out in this movie, like you pay to go see He-Man, and you're watching Courtney Cox whine about her fucking dead parents for like an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and you're just like, I don't give a shit. But does that make it a bad movie? I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just a bad He-Man movie.
Yeah, and that's the way I kinda look at it as well as, 'cause, I do enjoy this one. I don't think it's a great movie, but
Mhm.
I still have always kinda liked it enough. It gives me a lot of Flash Gordon vibes is really what it kinda
Mhm.
does as well. It's sorta missing that great soundtrack that Flash Gordon had. That might have been
It's still pretty good though. I mean,
it's not yeah, it's got some tunes in there, and it's definitely got some stuff going for it, but, you know
yeah, the score is good because the Bill
Yeah.
Conti score. Yeah,
Yeah, that part really is. I was just trying to think of it. Well, I guess they do. There is some kinda good tunes in there as well, but they're not
they're only background tunes though. They're
yeah, they're
never.
they're not like Queen, you know what I mean, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, like if you had if this movie really played into the background tunes a lot, you have like Dear Mr. Fantasy, you have Foxy Lady, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, I guess that's right. I forgot about that
Yeah.
too.
But they don't, but they're not like needle drops. They're just in the
Yeah,
background,
and they're not like theme songs for the like, made for the movie that, like, Queen did
Right.
for, Flash Gordon and Highlander and all that stuff.
Right. Like James
I
Gunn, if he did this movie, would have brought those songs to the forefront.
Yeah.
Like they've been playing into the movie. Like they were just he's walking to the fucking record store and Dear Mr. Fantasy's playing, which is a great fucking song. But yeah, it's not like Queen where it's like Queen is the fucking movie. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
whereas it's operatic and everything like that. I'll
Yeah.
also say with, like, the He-Man thing that, like, wo at this time period, though, there isn't a whole lot of adaptation movies. So it's almost
Yeah.
like the bar isn't really that far up. So I almost kinda give it a little bit more of a pass for that because it's like there hasn't been a whole lot what you got? You got Superman beforehand, you got Supergirl. There's really nothing else, like I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, there's the serials and all that kind of stuff, but Batman '89 hasn't come out yet. The Punisher hasn't come out yet. Ninja Turtles, all those ones that are going to start raising the bar, they haven't been there yet. So in a sense, this one's kind of very early to the party that I'm still going to give it a little bit of a pass on like even that stuff that, they're kind of doing what they could, and as I said, like you even in the '80s, if you would have saw this as a kid, I don't think you might have been as disappointed because felt like back in the day with people seem to be a little bit more open to like when something kind of came out. You just kind of you're just glad to almost have something more than anything else. Where I think nowadays people they almost expect to be exactly how it should, which does make sense because perfect examples like Mortal Kombat, the 2021 movie or whatever,
Mhm.
and then Mortal Kombat 2 kind of fixes all of that. Like he goes, no, here we go. We will do it perfect this time. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, that's the thing. If you're adapting a thing, adapt the thing.
Yeah.
And you could break a couple of the rules. Like, the X-Men movie that comes out in like the 2000 whatever.
Yeah.
They broke some rules. They didn't go with the yellow and colorful jumpsuits. They didn't do that, but they kept true to certain things.
Yeah, the
This
characters still
one,
felt like the characters.
right? This one just breaks a few too many. It you like if you want to take Attorney out and be on Earth, or if you want to take away some major characters, or if you want to focus on some like stories that don't usually get focused on, that's one thing if you do one or two of those things, but you can't do all three. You
Yeah.
can't if you're gonna the Earth thing, I'll never understand it.
Well, you know what the weirdest thing about that is, and this is like, because that's always been my problem with this movie, is the fact that it starts off and it's actually pretty cool. When the movie's rolling the first 15 minutes or whatever it is, and they're on Eternia and they got these cool sci-fi battles going on. And yeah, they might look a little bit cheesy nowadays, but I feel like when you're younger watching it, that would have looked pretty badass. But they do the thing where, of course, they get sucked into Earth, and then they're there for pretty much the rest of the movie. And ironically, for the first Thor movie does the exact same thing that this movie does. It's like almost like it copied this movie and
Yeah.
did a remake, but did it with Thor instead.
Yeah, I mean, but they play into it with Thor because he's like the fish out of water kind of thing, and it's like, you know, and it's part of the lore. Like it's important to the character to get banished.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, like those movies are good and the kids love them. But
Yeah,
even
I
then, I'm
like the
like,
Sonic ones, but yeah, once again, why are we not in Mobius the whole time? That's what we should be doing.
yeah, I want to be the real Green Hill Zone. I don't want to be this in Montana. I don't give a fuck. It's just the one I give a pass to is Transformers because Transformers, like you want to see them stay on Cybertron and do all that stuff, but also they're transforming into human related vehicles and stuff. Like you're transforming into a Volkswagen Beetle and you're transforming into, you know,
Yeah,
Earth stuff. So you have to have them on Earth some. You have to interact with humans because it just makes no sense if you don't. But like Sonic being Sonic Land, those movies are still good, but I don't like it. And I'll never understand why they do that. But and
yeah.
the argument is, I guess, oh, well, you're saving money, setting it on Earth and not having to build 14 different sets for Eternia. Great. But you're also losing money because nobody gives a fuck about Earth. And now you lost $4 million, where if you would have spent more money, you could have made more money. So it's, I don't know. They did build one big set though.
Yeah, and that set is cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
it always looks like lazy filmmaking. And as I said, like there's not a
Yeah.
single movie, even movies if I once again like I like because Sonic's one of those examples of just it's weirdly how that movie just kind of worked. Because it was a movie it shouldn't have worked, and that was like the movie that was doomed to fail, and then they were able to turn that ship around halfway through and actually come out with a pretty decent movie.
Yeah,
But
they're
at
good.
the end of the day, you want it to be like, let's just go to where we're supposed to be,
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna use that Mortal Kombat 2021 movie. That one did a really goofy thing too, where like they were on Earth like a bunch of the times too, and it's just like I want to see some cool backgrounds and so on like that. I want to see like that, where the levels are and so on like that. Let's go to Outworld Realm and all that kind of stuff. And of course, they do it in the second one. That they fix all those problems there. So it always kind of goes to show that you can always fix things in a sequel. Worst
Yeah.
case scenario, but yeah, a lot of times I think it is always kind of a letdown when you see a movie and they're going to do that Earth thing. Let's see how the characters interact with regular people, and it's always feels like, who are you making this for?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the reason the Sonic ones work is because they do so well with the Sonic characters. I mean, Sonic is so fun in those movies. Then you bring, Tails in and Knuckles and Shadow and like now they're gonna bring in Amy Rose. So it's
Well,
like they do cool
and I think
stuff.
those ones are fading farther and farther. Like each movie seems to be getting closer and closer to being like, let's go farther into that Sonic realm and less of the other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one may have done that too, but it's just it is frustrating when you have an IP and it's set in this like foreign land. Like, let's set it on Earth. Like, who gives a fuck? Like,
Well,
you
just do
know,
the Conan the Barbarian thing. Go film out in Spain and Italy and so on like that. Make it feel like that's part of Eternia and so on.
yeah, put this shit in front of some matte paintings. I
Yeah,
mean, you know, and I'm
that's
sure
got to
the
be
new,
that's probably cheaper. Anyways, this can't be the what I mean. Just
yeah, I get the point of setting it on Earth, and I guess at this time they're like, well, we can't, nobody's gonna see this weird shit because we got to make it relatable. Well, no, you don't. You just have to cater to the people who love it. You don't have to make the person who doesn't give a shit about Masters of the Universe give a shit about Masters of the Universe. They're still not going to.
yeah.
But you got to cater to the people who do care, and it's just you're barely on Eternia. You know, I understand why He-Man doesn't have a whole lot of lines because he's Dolph Lundgren,
Yeah, well, but
but
poor Dolph, because this is supposed to be Dolph's kind of takeoff movie as well
yeah,
too, and it's not really helping the cause.
it's not, it's not, and I don't want to say this mean. There's a lot of similarities between he and Arnold.
Yeah,
And in some ways, you can make the argument that he even looks more like a superstar, like a movie star than Arnold does, because he just seems taller and more chiseled, I guess. But Arnold has a charisma, that Dolph just can't hit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He just and Dolph is probably technically a better actor. He's definitely a smarter guy. Nothing, not that Arnold's stupid, but you
Yeah.
know, he just doesn't have. Arnold has that it factor, and putting him in this movie would have set it off. It really would have,
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
unfortunate, but it's
and this
true.
is realistically only Dolph's 3rd movie, I think, for the most
Mhm.
part. And he pretty much just had a part in 007, and then he's in Rocky 4, and then, Rocky 4 with what, all of like 15 lines. And then, if that even, and then this movie's just like they're giving him the full like reins, and the bummer always kind of is Dolph never it's almost like he got a handful of these movies in the late 80s, early 90s, and none of them really seem except for Universal Soldier. I think that one kind of worked well, but that's probably because he's paired with Jean-Claude. Um, Even though ironically, Dolph Lundgren actually has more movies than most actors ever will.
Yeah.
Because he started doing a bunch of like European movies and so on like that. And he was doing like 4 movies a year for like 20 years.
Wow.
Like, I mean, his filmography, it's like him and Jackie Chan are like almost like they got almost more movies than anybody else.
Yeah. It's weird how that show works.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's because you could go over in Europe and make 4 movies in a year, and there's not as many loopholes you need to jump through.
Yeah. But he did. I mean, obviously from a looks perspective, it made sense why you'd hire Dolph,
Yeah.
and you don't have that Chris Hemsworth kind of guy to like also have a lot of charisma, and he was the best guy he really was the best guy to play the part. He just it they didn't give him a lot to work with, and the movie is everything but the main two characters seem to be in a different movie. Like this, a little bit more jovial, a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more fun. But like Frank Langella playing Skeletor and him playing He-Man, they're like they own me business. Now Frank Langella as
Mhm.
Skeletor, it's one thing to say he's chewing the scenery. It has to be said he's doing a really fucking good job. Like too good for this movie.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he is the super actor brought into this.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. He's head and shoulders above literally everyone in this
Yeah.
movie. It's just he's too good for it. And he just sings with Skeletor. It makes him very Shakespearean
Mhm.
and like has some really cool fucking lines in there that he says or he ad-libbed and because you know Skeletor from the show, I just kind of remember that's what I kind of
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, classic 80s one, just like the whole
Yeah.
time.
I'm gonna get He-Man and we're gonna get in a sauna and see what develops and drink some brandy. Um no, but Frank Langella in this is just like all Shakespearean and mean as fuck and just power hungry and man, he is so so good. And like he makes you forget he's wearing that rubber mask because that
Yeah.
mask is atrociously bad.
Wait, it's one of those ones like that's I just kind of go with it because I'm always trying to think like what was the other options you could have done this time period, for that mask. I guess you could have done it like a hard mask and done it in pieces, but
Mhm.
would that have been better or worse? I don't know. It would have probably looked more like the show, realistically.
Yeah. Well, you can't. It's the mouth. What are you gonna do with the mouth if you do the hard
Yeah.
mask?
Well, you'd
Um.
have to have that like that'd be the pieces, you know what I mean? Where like
Yeah.
you can see his eyes, but then it's almost like he's got like a helmet on, and then like the mouth just moves up. You'd probably have to be partially on, animatronic.
Yeah. That's the thing. That stuff right there is what CGI was made for. That's
Yeah,
how you're supposed to use it.
because that's kind of it. I feel the way that Skeletor is in this, he's perfect if it was a play. If it was a play, that's a great costume for it. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
looking at it from a distance. You probably be like, "Oh, I believe that's a Skeletor right there." I think it's when you see it in the up close shots. It's where it kind of gives
Yeah.
that mask away so much, and like the nose is painted on for the holes and everything.
Yeah. And they don't do him any favors with lighting or distance or anything like that. Like they're getting straight up in his face and it's pretty bright. They're not doing him a lot of favors in
Yeah.
that sense either. I mean, it's not shot poorly, but for that mask it is because it's clearly not good. But also, you're right. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I
You know what
just
I mean?
that's one of those ones that, like, whenever I watch this movie, I always think about it and I go, that probably was the best idea at the time. It's, you know what I mean? Like, there's other things you probably could have tried, but that one probably was the most practical to get, like, the acting out and, not have something
Mhm.
fail on you and all that kinda stuff.
Yeah.
I kinda get it. Like, I go with it just because I'm like, I guess that's just what you have to have, you know?
Yeah, he does so good though. Frank Langella as Skeletor is just killing it in this movie. Um, so here's the thing. So this movie, it feels like it's time to take him. It feels like it's an episode of the show, but in this case, Skeletor's actually winning. Somehow he gets, a foothold in the Gray Skull, and he's going to take it over. And He-Man is trying to figure out what's going on. They meet Gwildor, which is Jar Jar Binks before Jar Jar Binks. And the most punchable, no, I will take that back. The most puntable character that I've ever fucking seen. Hate Gwildor. Hated him more by the end of the movie. Was so sick of them fucking calling him every 2 minutes. Gwildor, 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 Gwildor. Come on, Gwildor. Like, dude, you're slowing down the story too, not just the people in the story. Like, you suck. And I guess he's there because they didn't want to do Orko or whatever,
Yeah.
which is fair. Because how are you going to do that without
Yeah.
CGI? But boy, Gwildor sucks. Like, I
Yeah,
hate that character.
he is pretty obnoxious, and this is in 80s dark fantasy movies or whatever, like, it's quite common, you gotta have your little dwarf guy running around, doing magic and stuff. I mean, no different than the Labyrinth or any of that kind of stuff. They always got a goofy voice and everything there,
Yeah,
you know? Um, and of course, he's just brought in because for some reason, he's the only one who knows how to operate the key, you know, transportation device, even though he doesn't
yeah.
operate it very well.
Yeah, it's a very temperamental device. Basically, Skeletor used this device to get into access to Grayskull. This guy's got another one, and because he made it, this Gordor cat, and so He-Man somehow ends up on his doorstep, and then next thing you know, they're at Earth. And I think if I was a kid going to this movie in 1987, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh man, like that first set you see is so cool. That first big set, I think they used two sound stages for it,
Yeah,
and
it looks great. Like I said, the
yeah,
movie starts off super good. Like, you're kinda like, "Oh,
yeah.
I'm pumped for what we're getting into."
It deceives you. It makes you think you're getting one thing, kinda like what was it we mentioned when we did Transformers, mentioned Bumblebee, because at the first of that
Oh,
movie, you
yeah.
think you're getting, like, the Cybertron epic, and no,
Yeah,
but
the
I actually
beginning
like
of
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee, like, the first 15 minutes, probably not even that long, probably 7 minutes was
Yeah,
amazing, and
yeah,
then, like, the rest of Bumblebee, I was just like, When are we gonna get back to this?" Like, we're back to, the kid and the trying to figure out their life and everything like that. For certain
yeah,
reason, it takes a robot to explain it to them.
yeah, yeah, who knows? It's the ET thing. They try to
Yeah.
copy the ET thing, and it
That
just,
so some people don't realize it's like that worked for ET because you know why? Because ET didn't have like a bunch of merchandise or a bunch of like TV shows beforehand where he was in space on his own planet.
yeah, and also ET's written significantly better and directed by fucking Steven Spielberg too. There's that too. Um, but yeah, Gwildor sucks ass. Is what we need to know. So you have He-Man, you have Skeletor, you have Evil Lynn, which is that Meg Foster. Is that her name? Something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, she has got crazy eyes, and so she was in a lot of superhero movies and sci-fi movies and stuff in the '80s because she looks fucking cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. She got a good look for that character.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. So those characters are doing pretty well. Of course, you have Tilo, looks very different than she does from the show. Man at Arms. But Courtney Cox in this movie, so somehow they end up on Earth, and they adapt pretty quickly. At first, they're like, "I don't know what we do. Do we eat fried chicken? Maybe. I think that's what Earthlings do." And they're eating fried chicken and stuff. And
Yeah.
then
Courtney
they
Cox
just,
is working at like a knockoff KFC.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Courtney Cox is a teenager in this movie who has just lost her parents, so she's trying to move away, and she's got a boyfriend who's kind of annoying but not douchey.
Yeah. He's
Uh,
not really doing anything wrong, but yeah, just enough where you're kind of like, yeah, I see why she's leaving him.
Yeah. And she's gotta get away. She lost her parents in a plane crash, and she blames herself for it. So she's just trying to run away from all her problems. In this movie, the moral of this movie is to take your emotions and bury them down deep.
Yeah, you know what? And when you're gonna break up with somebody, bring them a bucket of chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's just
That's a good parting gift right there.
relationships 101.
That's what Courtney would do.
Yeah. I know you're gonna miss my legs, breasts, and thighs, but surprise. Um, so anyway, yeah, so Courtney Cox is this teenager, and guess what? Here's the fun thing about this character. Her name's Julie. She's now the star of the fucking show. She's now the main character in the fucking He-Man movie.
Yeah,
And
she's not an Eternia character or anything. If she was She-Ra, maybe it'd be different, but
yeah, it drives me nuts. It's one of those things. It's like I guess they're trying to appeal to everyone or something
yeah.
and make it relatable.
Well, it's that thing what I always call it. They try to put the Avatar character in there, and the Avatar
Yeah,
character is always annoying. Well, I hate I'm bringing up Mortal Kombat 2021 again, but that was the main problem with that one is they threw the stupid Avatar character in there, and it's like, dude, nobody needs the Avatar character, you know. Or
yeah,
that's even like Transformers. Transformers was always the Michael Bay movies were kind of bad about that too because they made. I mean, I know that the Shia LaBeouf character is in, of course, the TV show, but he's just not nearly as prevalent like that. But it's like they try to do that thing where like, here's like who the audience is supposed to relate to, when it's like, dude, we can relate to robots. Like you can make a movie all about robots. I'm gonna totally relate. Like nobody's gonna care. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like you don't need to have this Avatar character. There's a time and a place for the Avatar character. I'll say there's certain movies where you can have it. I mean, like
It's a balance.
yeah, like The Hobbit, technically, Bilbo Baggins is kind of your Avatar character in that because he's just a regular dude in a, I mean, regular Hobbit, but he's thrown into this great adventure that he really has no proper skills for, and it
Hmm.
sort of works, you know. But not all those things need that Avatar character in there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, this was so cool. Basically, Courtney Cox lost her parents, and she's graven at the graveyard. And this magical Japanese synthesizer thing falls from the sky, which is what her boyfriend thinks it is, which is hilarious. Um, and now they're wrapped up into this eternal cosmic battle, for the fate of Eternia, and she's just trying to move away and get out of the chicken joint. That's basically what's going on.
Yeah, the chicken business just isn't going to cut it for her.
No, and it's one of those things. It's like again, it's just who cares,
Yeah,
you know?
you know. Well, it's that thing of like, you could have that character in there, but maybe just pull all that baggage stuff out of it and just simplify her thing. And just, you know, she could still be like, in a sense, your Avatar character that
Hmm.
meets up with He-Man and all that kind of stuff, but maybe doesn't make a difference too much more about the rest of her story. Just have her
Yeah,
along for the ride. You know,
yeah.
maybe
We
she's
don't
like
even.
she's trying to get out of literally. You know what you could do? You could do pretty much what you do with Sally Fields and Smokey and the Bandit. She just happens to catch a ride of He-Man, and then she's off on an adventure. She was
Yeah,
just getting out of Dodge anyways, you know, and here we go.
yeah. She's there to bone He-Man, and that's
Yeah.
fine, But it's one of those things. It's the whole Earth story is just so boy. Now they do a pretty good job intertwining Eternia battle in there and Eternia action scenes into the Earth world. I mean, it's they're pretty well shot too. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
But now the movie has shifted from what's happening in Eternia to Earth, and it's just a lot of nonsense. It's kind of a waste of time sometimes.
Yeah, because you're just literally running around. There's the school prom going on. The boyfriend
Yeah.
goes to play there. He's got his hip electric band.
A lot of Back to the Future similarities in this
Yeah, there
too.
there is.
Not
You
just the
know,
fact that Tolkien is playing like a police chief, a silver principal. It's the same guy who's playing Marty's principal.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
hilarious
no,
to me.
and I think that's probably it. I think they did that thing where like, let's fuse a couple different movie ideas together and see if we can come up with something, you know.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of probably where that Back to the Future feel gets blended in with the Flash Gordon-y Star Wars kind of vibe, you know. And
yeah. It's. I will say it's not terrible though.
no, and it still rolls. That's the thing about the movie is it's not like you get to the Earth sections, you're like, oh, this movie's just starting to drag. Like that boat scene in Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Well,
The slowest boat scene I've ever seen in my entire life to build
yeah.
tension.
It's only so much you can do in San Antonio, I guess. Like, once you hit the Alamo and the fucking Riverwalk, like, what are you gonna do? Like, oh my gosh. Um, but yeah, like, so you don't need the boyfriend character at all. Like, you can get rid of that character and just rework a few scenes, and the movie still works without that character. Like, you don't
Yeah.
even need him. He's not too annoying though.
No,
Um,
you know,
yeah.
sometimes that thing too where they put the boyfriend character in there, and a lot of times you feel like they put him in there because he plays keyboard, so he's gonna eventually learn how to work this, synthesizer thingamajiggy that's pretty much the cosmic key. You could just give all those skills to Courtney Cox. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's an 80s movie, so sometimes they're not going to give as many of the skills to the woman character, but like literally kind of, I mean, we did Night of the Comet. Those girls all had all the skills that they needed.
Hmm. Yeah. This movie needed to be a little bit more punk rock. It needed a James Gunn type person to direct it. There's a lot of people who I feel like could have done a really good job at this in the 80s that just weren't called. Um, or they didn't think they can get them. You know who I feel like would have done way out of his wheelhouse, but you know who I feel like would have done a good job with this for some reason?
Uh-huh.
Cronenberg.
That would be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah. Or a Joe Dante.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't think Spielberg's going to touch it. As Zemeckis, it's too close to Back to the Future, I think, in some ways.
In a weird
I
way, if you gave it to Carpenter, but then let him kind of carpenter it up, because then
That's fair.
he'd be putting his music in there. He might add some extra elements that I think would kind of work in its favor. It would seem kind of different for him, but at the same time, I think by giving it kind of a mixed match feel of like maybe um Big Trouble in Little China, but then giving it sort of
Mhm.
that sci-fi fantasy vibe as well.
Yeah, it's any I don't know. Another person who would have done really good with this is oh my gosh, Reitman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, first of all, he would have figured out how to do Orko.
yeah.
Yeah, he would have figured that shit out. Um, because he did ghosts and stuff. Because I don't even know what Orko fucking is, like a phantasm or I don't know what he is. So he would have done pretty well with that. Plus, he would have been able to blend the carrot, like the humor in there a little bit better. This one has some funny moments, but then it feels like He-Man and Langella played it too serious for everybody else, so you can't really enjoy the funny in it, or it's accidentally funny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's needed a more experienced director too. I think would have really helped a lot, and then maybe make some just different decisions. It's another one of those movies where like, man, if somebody was read through the script one more time and they just rewrote it,
Yeah,
it could have
and
worked.
and that's where a lot of times I look at the things. It's a lot of times it's the script at the end of the day is kind
Yeah,
of probably the thing that's, and granted, I get it. It's probably written to be budget, friendly as much as possible. But once you could say, like, I mean, I know Ninja Turtles takes place in like the real world and something like that, but Ninja Turtles is always a good example. I know it's still a couple years later of that. Like they practically just took that original comic book, couple issue run and just did it on live screen, added in some of the elements of the TV show, and just kept it feeling pretty darn like real, and just to the source material.
yeah. Also, it's hard to say how I have a sneaking suspicion Mattel was way too involved in this.
I've always heard that Mattel kind of jacked up a lot of the stuff in here.
Yeah, it seems that way because I've read something about, He-Man can't kill somebody on screen, which I kind of get. I understand that to an extent, but I feel like just from the few things I read, I'm like, they're having a lot of input here. They're having a lot of say on the narrative here, which is not good.
Well, I think it's that thing because, like, you got a movie, so a movie's gonna always be turned up to like a PG-13, and Mattel's probably looking at it still like it's made for like 8-year-olds when it's like by
Yeah,
this point, technically your audience has grown.
yeah,
So who was a 10-year-old in like 84 is now going to be, literally like 15 years old now. So you're
hmm,
almost more appealing to teenagers is who you really need to be your
yeah.
target demographic. So they're going to want some violence and, that kind of stuff.
Should have put Tila in that outfit she wore in the animated series.
Yeah, exactly. And it
Much
says
prefer.
they should have beastmastered it up. That would have been the thing to do.
Yeah, Beastmaster it up, and trim some fat because there's some stuff in this movie. She's like, why are we doing this? It's too long. Like the whole scene with the boyfriend subplot with him with the police chief played by Tolkien, and they're running around and all that stuff. Man, you could have just said, "Fuck all this," and had that be a Courtney Cox He-Man element of the movie. Follow them for a while and just get rid of those two characters because you didn't need either one of them really.
Yeah, pretty much, and even there's just some weird stuff in there too, where some decisions, like literally Courtney Cox's character, she's all in on the master plan of, helping these guys out, and getting them back there and so on like that. And of course, all it takes is literally Evil Lynn to come by, look like her mom for a second, and she 100% believes that this must be true, even though she saw all this other fantasy stuff. So it's like this shouldn't seem out of the question by this point. Grabs the cosmic key, runs off to give it to her supposed mom that just randomly survived this airplane crash. All of a sudden, it took her a year to walk back.
Yeah.
Doesn't question where dad's at.
So diabolical. It's so evil.
Yeah.
It's so evil. Ugh,
and I'll say that, like, the concept isn't bad. You need to use a little bit more magic, though. I feel like it makes Courtney Cox's character seem really like dumb and naive, and like,
yeah,
at least just mind controllers. You do one of those things. I know that's kind of a Deus Ex Machina thing, but at least it takes it out of the hands of like the characters, thing.
Or make it more surreal, like she stepped into another plane and that's where her mom is, and then I don't know, they kind of tried that a little bit, but it didn't work out. Yeah, I mean, this movie is that you don't spend that much time on Earth if you find a way to maybe spend a little bit more money and just spend a little bit more time on Eternia. I think this thing could work better. I will say, great final battle though.
Yeah.
Between He-Man and Skeletor, because especially when they do the lights and stuff in the background, it looks badass as fuck. Like it's really, really cool.
No, that does look pretty cool, all in all, maybe it looks maybe a little bit kind of cheap, but I still enjoy all that stuff. Because that's the thing. I think the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie are pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's just the middle stuff, and it's not terrible, it's not bad, but it's goofy, and that's the thing. And it's a bummer that there's not a sequel, because I think a sequel actually could have fixed a whole lot of this stuff, especially if you just got everybody back in, like Dolph and all that kind of stuff. I think you could have turned that ship around. Now, I know this is kind of the era still where the sequels aren't always the big thing yet. We haven't really got to the real sequel era. There is a few in the 80s, but like, beyond Star Wars and Indy, it's the 90s is where like a sequel starts to become a bigger deal.
Yeah. I don't know. Some of the suits in this movie look really, really good. Some of the set designs stuff in this movie look pretty good. I don't know. I feel like the perfect format for this movie would have been like stick it on Eternia. He-Man's got to go through a series of bad guys to get back to Skeletor, and you get some of the big guys in there. Master at Arms helps a little bit. Maybe you kill him.
Or just the simple. If you want to use the Courtney Cox as your avatar character, do it the Labyrinth style. Starts off in the real world. She's there. She gets somehow, some way sent into Eternia, and then she joins along with the crusade of all the, He-Man and all his characters and so on like that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things that you could have done, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm excited to see the new one.
I am too. I know nothing about it, to tell you the truth. I literally have never seen a trailer, I don't think I've seen a poster for it.
Oh, the trailer seemed pretty good. I thought from what I saw of it, they were gonna really lean really far to that meta stuff. But it seems like they didn't do that too much. It seems like that's just it's more, instead of being more meta, it's more like Hook.
Oh, okay.
Where he's left Neverland and now he's kind of coming back. And so he hasn't forgot it.
Okay.
But it seems more like Hook in that sense, instead of being meta. I haven't watched the movie, but from what I've seen of it, that's okay. That seems like what they're doing, because I thought it was gonna be one of those meta bullshit, which I'm over that shit. I don't care.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
There's a fine line you could walk on that.
I barely, for me. I just don't like it. For some, this is one thing I just do not like. It
takes me out of it. It's like fourth wall breaking in a weird way.
It is, and it also kind of undermines the original story.
Yeah. Well, I just want to, in a sense, I want to go in and suspend my disbelief. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be transported into this world. I don't want to be kind of know that I'm sitting in the real world watching a movie on the screen kind of thing.
Yeah. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But, Anyway, Masters of the Universe, 1987. If you haven't seen it, if you want to watch it before you go watch the new one, it is on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
That's where I watched it. You know what? I
I
have
think
it
it's
on
also on YouTube as well.
I think you're right. I think it is on YouTube.
Because I want to say that's where I watched it.
I didn't even get out my VHS for this.
I know. I meant to grab I have a record of Master of the Universe that I
Oh,
was going to dig out.
that's actually really cool. Where's mine at? I don't even know. It's over here somewhere. But right over here by the Living Daylights, actually, I think. Ironically. Yeah. But anyway, Master of the Universe 1987. Go watch it on Amazon Prime. I don't think you're going to have a lot of fun with it, but it is, if you're really into 80s culture, if you're really into Masters of the Universe, if you're really just kind of like on a film journey where you like to look at kind of like obscure things or maybe things that didn't work that could have worked, it could be worth your time.
Yeah.
And there's some good to look for in it. There's some cool design ideas that they had. There's some cool things from the show that you wouldn't think would work in a live action thing that they make work, especially the lasers and stuff. It's worth giving them one chance too, but it's not something that you're gonna be blown away by. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. You kind of, if you watched it back in the day, it was a little bit more fun, I think.
Probably.
I would say it might be kind of an interesting watch if you're watching it for the first time.
Yeah. It's kind of slow. I mean, we watched this a couple years ago and I don't even remember it. It's like I took it out of my brain. But that was an episode we tried to do and it just fell apart. I think we had a third person with us.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, and it just didn't work. But
Even this one took us like 2 weeks to get to, so maybe there's just like a master's curse.
it's a laborious watch. It was for me. I did not enjoy watching this. My kids were like, "What the fuck are you watching?" They did think some of the suits were pretty cool, like the prosthetics and stuff like. And I agree. I mean, it doesn't look cheap.
No. And Eternia
Um,
looks good and so on like that.
yeah,
Dolph looks great in there too. So I mean, if you're watching the classic Dolph run of movies, this is one of those big ones there.
yeah, and it's funny too. It's hard to think that this movie is 2 years before Batman '89.
Yeah, and 3 years before Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It just doesn't feel like.
Well, because that's the thing is,
Uh,
Batman '89 is the one that's what changes everything. That's why a lot of times I do give this Masters a little bit more of a pass, is because it is before all these other ones.
yeah,
I mean, its only real major one is Superman that it's kind of going against, and Superman's kind of a completely different genre when you really think about it.
yeah. This is more of like a fantasy thing and less of a comic book. I'm sure there were comic books, but yeah, it just didn't work out. But it's worth watching if you've never seen it.
Yeah,
But let us know what you think about it. You always find us on social media at X at Via VHS, on TikTok at Via VHS. And stay tuned because I got more stuff coming for that. But I'm falling asleep. I'm getting a little tired. I'm like, I'm fine. I need that fucking sword.
exactly. I've got the power. That's what you should have said right before you took your drink.
Yeah, I should have done that. Yeah, it's just not working. But yeah. Anyway, any last thoughts before we get out of here? Any last plugs or anything?
No. I still enjoy this movie for what it is, and I'm assuming we probably will forget about it, and 5 more years from now we'll do it again.
Yeah, probably. We'll probably do this movie again. I think there's going to be a Masters too, because I think this one did pretty well at the box office. This new one, I have
Yeah.
to look at that. But the buzz, it seemed like it was going to do pretty well. So, um, I think it did better than Star Wars, ironically, which is what this
Oh yeah.
franchise always said it was going to do.
I forgot that Mandalorian. That one just came and went.
Yeah, still there.
The
So
first time
did you?
I didn't see a Star Wars movie in theaters. It's kind of weird to think of it like that.
Yeah, unless I go, I'm going to go next week. Otherwise, it would be the same way. But I have that Tuesday, Wednesday thing where it's $10, so I'm going to take advantage of it.
Well, that's
Basically,
nice.
yeah, and it's a nice theater too. But and they have freestyle machines.
No, there you go.
I'm bring it full circle right there. But anyway, but thank y'all for listening to this episode. As always, Via VHS, your virtual video store. Our featured rental this week was Masters of the Universe, and next week we got something coming new for you. So anyway, thank y'all for listening. Hope y'all have a good one. And Via VHS is out.